All right, guys, thanks for tuning in tonight with the Fat Dad Fishing Show. My name is Rich. I am here with co-host Ed.
Good evening, everyone.
and co-host John Creeley from Creeley Custom Rods. Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
So listen, we're going to do a little bit of a different stream tonight than what we've been doing in the past. We're experimenting with a couple of new things. So I thought it would be a good week that we come on without a guest. We are going to have a guest next week who I will announce at the end of the stream. We're not going to go as long as we normally do, but what we want to do is kind of touch on the weekend review for the three of us personally, and then we're going to go into some local reports. And today it's really going to be New Jersey saltwater reports. However, we're not going to necessarily limit ourselves to that as we go forward. So we'll probably get some things in there, like Long Island Sound, look down in Delaware, and any other areas that people have interest in. We'll also get the reports in for there. So we're going to want to dive right in here and start off with the reports. And I think we'll start with Ed today. Talk about your past week or actually any news in the past week that's going on, and then John can jump in, and then I'll wrap it up.
Cool. So news, some new stuff coming out with the Captain Hank's tackle, obviously the business I run. We have some new striper jigs. They're called the Switchblade. So it's like a VMC Barbarian hook with a willow blade underneath. So far, they're proven to be pretty good. I'm getting some good feedback on those. I do have some super top secret stuff coming in. I'm not exactly ready to talk about that just yet. Rich, would like to argue that, but not just yet. As far as this past week goes, it's been kind of uneventful. I did get out Wednesday for an all-day togathon. Did pretty well. We, between the three of us, I think we had about 8 or 9 keepers. It was pretty quiet Sunday. I should have got out, but I didn't. I just kind of took the day and did some family stuff. That's about it for me. It's been a quiet week. Hopefully this Sunday I can get out, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, you can see on the screen, you got some nice fish in there, though, on that Sunday or the Wednesday togathon, right?
That was actually 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that was 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. So my days off are Sundays and Wednesdays, so that's usually when I try to get out.
Gotcha.
Those pictures are 2 weeks ago.
Okay. All right, and let's move on over. Now, I don't have a screen for John because John didn't post any of his pictures. So, John, why don't you jump into your weekend review?
All right. So myself, I personally went out Friday. Was the first day I've been able to get out since the limit changed to 5 on Tuesday. The wind was absolutely terrible. We jumped on the Ocean Explorer. Working around the boat, you did not see many fish being pulled up all day. I think we caught slack tide. That's when I had a good window, and that was right early in the morning when we anchored up. Probably 45 minutes, I had 5 or 6 fish over the rail, all measurable, 1 keeper, and then after that, it was just slim picking. Other than that, there wasn't too much to report from that boat that day.
Yeah, it's been hit or miss, and that was, what was that? A couple days after that, pretty strong nor'easter came through. I think it was a nor'easter. In any event, there's some pretty wicked winds and currents and everything. I was also out on Wednesday. I was not with Ed. I was further south, and I was fishing from shore. And it was one of those days with a lot of tog, but there was just no size to them at all. The guys around me weren't catching. It was one of those days where I wish I'd been on the kayak because, it's kind of like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You bring it, and then you have to use it. You can't leave it just sitting in the truck as you go off on the rocks a mile away. It was just, they were there. They were on green crabs. They were on sand fleas, but couldn't get anything with any size worth talking about. So I kind of chalked up Wednesday as a day. I didn't video or anything. It was just a day to go fishing for me, which is pretty rare. So I actually wasn't really too concerned about catching any big fish. It was just a day to not video, which can seem like a job sometimes, just to go out and get on the water. So I kind of had it rough too. That was right after a pretty good blow that came through. So now what I can tell you though is we'll just roll into some of these reports and give you guys an idea of what was going on all around the area. So we got a couple of tackle shops, and we have personal reports that were given to us that we were given permission to share on stream. So we're going to start off. I talked to Captain Andy today up at Riptide Bait and Tackle. I'm just going to tell you, if you guys haven't been in there in Brigantine, you should go in and check that place out. It is a really good shop. It's the one that I use whenever I'm up there fishing Brigantine, and I fish it quite often. Those that have watched the stream and the live streams in the past, Dylan for Dylan Fishing actually works there. So they're currently open, good hours for this time of the year, 6 a.m. to 5 Monday through Friday, and then 5 to 5 on Saturday, 5 to 4 on Sunday. So you can still get in there. They got tons of bait, usually green crabs and everything that you're going to want to have for this time of the year. Not really plugging them, just letting you know it's a great shop, and they do. They've always done well by me. So see if I can get these pictures to render here for them. Yeah, having some difficulty with the pictures coming up with this application that I'm using with this incredibly expensive setup that I have. But I can let you know that they've been starting to hit the large striped bass out of Brigantine. They had the I guess it was over the weekend, they had the Elks tournament, and they had some really nice over slot fish that were pulled out. They had some that were up to 43 inches. So 43 inches, and they were caught on eels. The biggest one was caught on eels. There are some of the pictures are coming up. You can see there, right there, pretty nice size fish that went back in the water. You had a nice 30-incher next to that. I'm sorry, a 2.9 tog. And then on the next slide, we start getting into some of the other size fish. You can see the gentleman in the middle, Joe D, with a 30-inch. There's that over slot on the left that was caught on an eel. And then, so as it turns out, according to Riptide, I mean, it's a big bait bite. You can still use the artificials, obviously, but they are hitting the surf. They're starting to get in the suds and in the wash, which is what we've been waiting for so long for the striped bass. It's a very late season as far as I'm concerned for South Jersey. But, off of Brigantine, they're starting to get them. And here's the proof right there. These are, a lot of these are Elks tournament entries. But a lot of releases. So you can see I believe that says Linda D all the way on the right. She's got a nice 34 3/4 inch, which at the time put her in first for the tournament. I don't believe she won, but obviously that's a pretty nice size fish to be entering into the tournament. So the bait bite, eels, spot, bunker, of course, and clams have been huge in the surf, and they're starting to hit in the back. Brigantine backwaters, that's where they were getting some of these nice slot fish in the upper range of the slot, so up to around 35 to 37. So that's Brigantine, and that's what's being reported out of Riptide. So don't be, if you're waiting to hit the beach, stop waiting. They're in the central Jersey and moving south, and you got a pretty decent chance of getting into them if you get out there and putting your time looking for those rips in the surf. So Ed, you want to take offshore? You were talking about earlier today.
Yeah, I spoke to Chris earlier in the week. One of the first shops that's carrying the Captain Hanks line. So shout out to those guys. Their hours are pretty good as well. 9 to 5:30 on Monday. Tuesday closed. Wednesday 7 to 5:30. Thursday 7 to 5:15. Friday 7 to 5:30, and then the weekend they're open 6 to 5:30. So they're right back on Maryland Ave. Right by the inlet. So if you're going down to hit the jetties and stuff, they're a pretty quick shot to get there. He's one of the only guys I know around right now that has a good supply of white leggers too for the togs. So definitely stop in and give those guys a shout. He also did want me to pass on that they are doing some Black Friday stuff. Starting Black Friday, they're doing 25% off select tackle and gear, and they're running that through Christmas. So that was something
Nice.
cool to share. And then as you can see in the pictures, they're a lot of these guys they're offshore, on the wrecks fishing for tog. But a ton of keepers are coming over the rails, so it's always good to see.
Yeah, it looks like some nice size in there. And so these are the offshore bite. The first one on the left was caught on the Osprey. The crew of Finsolation was the one in the middle. They use white leggers and greenies. So, if you want the white leggers, you're going to want to stop in at offshore. I'm not sure. The too many others that I've seen do have them in stock. I actually haven't seen them personally at all yet. So if I'm looking for white leggers, I'm definitely going to have to head over there to check it out. So that covers offshore. And then we could get into some of these personal reports. John, you actually had quite a few sent to you directly. John's like our social contact. Everybody knows John. John knows
Mr.
everybody.
Mayor.
So let me see if I can get this the screen sharing thing to work properly. So our buddies from Tide Chasers podcast checked in, and John, you want to go through this?
Yeah, so I talked to Qua actually for quite a while this morning. He went out opening day with Johnny Boy. They slammed it on the tog. They originally were looking for striper. They were going to go for some tog afterwards. Couldn't get a striper bite going. He said they ran through 3 dozen crabs instantly. And then thankfully they had another boat, tracked them down, grabbed another 3 dozen from them, and were able to put their limit together pretty quickly. Then they did get on the stripers. So that was definitely a good opening day for them.
That sounds like the boat that tracked them down is probably a charter captain.
Yes. I
Okay.
don't know what boat it was, but they knew somebody in the area and was like, hey, we need crabs. So they called them over and they were able to get some off them.
They seem to be the only ones that go out overstocked.
Yeah.
With greenies and white leggers.
Yeah.
So beautiful fish there. Quality. I guess he headed north with the boat for this one, but
I believe he was up fishing out of Belmar, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. All right. So there's a nice Belmar tog, Belmar area. I mean, once you're in a boat, you can go out any inlet and be fishing off of the hook if you want. So, so nice, obviously really nice fish there. He and Johnny got into him. Then you had another one come in from Joe. You had a couple from Joe. So this was the day one.
Yeah. So Joe, he was able to head out. He jumped on a couple party boats. He was fishing down south. Tuesday, he jumped on the Cape May Lady. He had 3 keepers. He pretty much said it didn't matter what you threw down. Pretty much you could have threw a green, a white. You'd have made no mistake. You were going to have fish. So he said you had to work through the shorts, but Tuesday was a good day.
And then he went out again.
Yeah, so Sunday seemed to be a little more productive for him. He said, though, with the keepers, he had a few more. It was a slower day, he says, bad anchoring. When you got a breeze, the anchors got tight. The boat had fish up to 6 pounds. Some spots they would only eat white. Some spots they would only eat greens. He had 4 that day, one up to 4.8. His dad had 2. And our buddy Brandon had 3 fish, and that was on the Osprey out AC.
Wow, not bad.
Yeah.
Osprey's making its appearance in a couple of places here.
They'll do their run. They come down from New York around this time of year, and they usually head out to the AC Reef and fish out that way until tide closes up down here.
Yeah, so if you're not going to jump on a charter boat or a party boat and you have a boat, AC Reef obviously is putting out some numbers right now. Decent early season bite, some decent size there. I mean, no monsters, but it's still early, and that water is still really warm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we move on. We've got another report, and this one got a video with it. So just point out there, if people can't see it because of the screen size, there's a bunker right there, right at his feet.
Yeah, so I don't know what day this was. Thankfully, I was talking to Ray this morning. He said he was up at Manasquan. I guess it was either this week or this weekend. Um, he said there was mostly schoolies mixed in, and he was catching, keeper fish. The fish though were just pushing the bunker right at your feet. He says you could just see striper right at your feet. He's like the bite was insane. So it was definitely one of those days you want to be out there. Like you said, if you want to get in on a striper bite, right now's the time because they're there.
Yeah, so let me mute the audio and let me bring up the next video. So you can actually see the striper literally hitting at his feet right here. If you look closely in this video. I don't know if it muted the audio or not, but see, you can see him right there in the wash, right in here. So about 4 feet in front of him.
Yeah, like you said, the bunker was just getting pushed in. So the fish, they're going to chase the bait. So he said they were in real tight.
Yeah, and to kind of, not that we have to. Ray's got a pretty good reputation, but this is also, you saw Jim Hutchinson also reporting on this. It was actually happening up and down the coast of New Jersey, especially the northern to central New Jersey, bunker in the wash and staying there for prolonged periods of time. And people just, I had overheard a guy talking about it. And he had mentioned that he was just exhausted. He just kind of sat down and watched for a while because he couldn't keep reeling them in. But it was literally just flipped. Where he was is a little further out. He was just doing a sidearm flip, so maybe about 20 or 30 yards out, and he was just bailing them. Schoolie size into slots, so there were definitely keepers mixed in. But a great sign, because this is something that I haven't seen yet this year until the past few days. You start seeing it coming up online and start getting emails saying, "Hey, I found them," or "They found me." They found the rip I was fishing. All right, so that's Ray B. Guys, and anyone watching, if you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, this is kind of free form, so just jump in with any comments. Happy to go through anything. We can jump off topic, but we do have some more reports that we'll keep rolling through in the meantime. Again, John knows everybody. Everybody knows John. So the next one is also coming in through him. And Ray and Chris.
So, yeah, I was just floating through, Facebook. I don't jump on as much as I used to, but sometimes you're bored at work, float through, and I came across this. I know Ray through fishing on the Cape May Lady. Him and his buddy Chris, I think it was a back-to-back day. As you can see on the picture on the left, the guys absolutely slammed it. I believe this was Saturday. They pretty much limited out on the tog. That is an 11.4 pound tog caught on a jig offshore. On the right side, they went for a mixed bag trip. Again, you could see plethora of fish: tog, albies, sea bass, triggers, blues. I mean, these boys are absolutely crushing it. So hopefully
nice
I'll be able to get out.
there.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll be able to get out to fish with those guys soon. So they've been doing a really, really good job, and I actually hope to see more double-digit fish from them this year.
All right. So again, the bigger fish starting to get caught. Then you got the two best names of the night: Striper Jim and Hollywood Harold.
Yeah, those names do not go unnoticed when it comes to striper fishing. Striper Jim has that name for a reason. He said they went, I think, 8 for 8 on the bass. Primarily, the bigger fish were hitting the M3 tackle spoons,
which is in the picture.
Yes, the bunker spoons, they were trolling those. He said they did have a couple keeper fish on the White Mojo, and then they had a bunch of smaller schoolies and stuff like that on the umbrella rigs. So he said Saturday, the straight bass bite was hot. And then Sunday, it kind of shut off for them. They did guys did all right up in the Raritan Bay, but out in the ocean, it wasn't much to be heard of on Sunday as there was Saturday.
Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing: the wind has not done anyone any favors. I'm trying to find some time to get down there and get out on the water, and maybe I can actually open this up. Bring up the wind forecast and share the screen. But if I just go in and look at Wind Finder, which I know is not always the best, but as evidenced by the fact that I got stuck in a storm when Wind Finder said there wasn't one there. But if you guys haven't seen that video, just look at the last minute of it and you'll see what the winds turned into. But let's just take Brigantine. And I'll share the screen in a moment. Brigantine forecast for wind. All right, let me switch the screen over. Because I think this is going to be really important. This is going to be really important for anyone that's thinking about getting out, and it's not looking good as far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't know what kind of boats people have, what kind of tolerance they have for the wind and the waves. But this is really what we're looking at here. It should be popping up any second into the stream. All right, so this is off of Brigantine. So you can see right now the winds. If you aren't familiar with how to read these, just look at 16 miles an hour, 9 miles per hour with gusts up to 14, up to 24. But look later in the week. This is where it gets a little messed up. Look at Friday, which is when we're all thinking about going out. You have Friday 25 to 36. You got 24 to 35 on Saturday. Then you roll into Sunday, and it looks a little bit more manageable at 14 to 18. But you look at the wave heights; they don't look that bad, right? So if you look at Sunday as an example, at 10 a.m., 14 to 18 out of the northwest, which actually gives you a 2.3 foot wave out of this slightly southwest at a 9-second interval, which isn't too bad. So it's at least the right direction if you're going to be off in the boats. Anything west is going to help with the ride out there and the swell. But man, that's windy, and it's extremely windy in a kayak, which is what's really going to limit me. So I may be having to take a day off of work and jump on a party boat or something. Yeah, so it hasn't looked great. So just be careful out there, guys. If you're hitting the water and anything small, if you're hitting any inlets, make sure you take a look at the wind forecast and the wave forecast, especially, because that's really what's going to get you. All right, we had one more. Just give me 1 second. I'll pull that back up. Okay, so we had one more that came in for you, John, unless there were some that I missed.
No, that seems to be it. Yeah, so Jason, I reached out to him. He also got back to me with this picture. He said, first light on Saturday, Island Beach State Park. He said multiple fish. This was the only picture he grabbed, but he said there was definitely keepers in the mix and nice sized fish. So he said he had a pretty productive morning on Saturday.
Yeah, the first light, last light bite seems to be the one that goes off first before the bass really move into an area. IBSP, if you look at, it's right next to Seaside Heights, Grumpy's Tackle. If you look at their reports, they're starting to get the bigger ones moving into the wash. Now, I haven't seen any reports of prolonged blitzes or anything like that, but there's definitely been some quality fish pulled out recently, meaning within the past, if I recall, within the past few hours. Some 30 plus for over 40s definitely have been pulled out. So they're definitely moving down the coast. They're in through LBI. They're all the way through IBSP, Brigantine, AC. They're even in the backwaters in AC, which just bodes well. If you're south of there, I don't have any solid reports. Some of the bait shops down there are shut down at this time of year. So it's a little light unless you get the personal reports. But if for striped bass, is what I'm talking about. The togging is on fire down south. But for the striped bass, that's I think it's a little late. It's still not quite down there yet, as far as I can tell.
I kind of think it's going to be late because they hung around so long this spring. At least in my opinion, they stayed around a lot longer than normal.
They did, and the water's still warm. It was 58 in Hereford Inlet this past week. It was 58 as well in Townsend, and in Corson it was 57 when I measured it. So, yeah.
I mean this summer took forever for the back bays to warm up. At least where I'm at, it seemed like.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's roll in real quick. What's your plan for this week, John?
This Saturday, I'm supposed to be fishing on the Bingo out of Leonardo for the JDFK fundraiser tournament or fundraiser that they do every year. Thankfully, I was able to get invited this year. They take a boat of 20 guys. They charge $200 a person. $100 goes towards JDFK, which is Jason Streams for Kids. It's a good foundation. Look into it. If you guys want to make a donation or anything, they'll be greatly appreciative of it. So that's my plan. See what happens. If not, maybe try and hit the rocks because Friday and Saturday, like you said, definitely looks like it's blown out. But you never know. There might be that chance it could change.
Right. What about you, Ed?
Well, things just took an interesting turn. I was going to be grounded this whole week with Thanksgiving coming up. I have a guy at work on vacation, so I have to cover a shift. And then we're supposed to have a soccer tournament this weekend, which got canceled. So Sunday is back in play. So we're going to see maybe after the stream if you guys want to do something.
Well, for me, so I used to for years. I used to be able to go fishing on Thanksgiving, but I can't get away with that anymore. So I'm with family on Thanksgiving. My son does have a soccer tournament in South Jersey at Tuckahoe this weekend. So it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday tournament. So I'm going to be down there, but it's in Tuckahoe, which is really close to the coast. So I may be throwing the kayak in the back and breaking off from him. He can come home with his buddies. They're 17, 18 years old. They can drive themselves, and I may be ducking down. So we could talk about getting out this weekend, but I have off Friday and Monday, so save some PTO time so that I could hopefully get out Monday. And Monday looks like it might be a good day to hit a charter boat. So that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, I'm still focused on the tog. Right before it switches over to the big striped bass push down in middle New Jersey and southern Jersey. So that's what I'm looking at. A couple of things I did want to bring up to people. You got Black Friday, you got the Thanksgiving sales, Black Friday, you got Cyber Monday coming up. Now it's time to really look at, what do you need to restock? Or you can just, let your significant other know, hey, there's a sale at this place. I put a couple of links to sales that are coming up through Cabela's and Overton's in the description of this. The Cabela's one actually looks pretty decent. Coming up, they have a Thanksgiving sale and a Black Friday sale, and they got some good deals in there. Some of these things are like 75% off. And I would tell you, I bought some great electronics in these sales. So if you want a new fish finder, start looking now. You don't have to use the links in the description, but start looking now because you're going to see some really nice last year's or this year models start going on sale. That's how I ended up picking up at the time my Hook 2 9-inch for under $500 with the triple scan on it. So just keep an eye out for that stuff. Again, there's some links down there. Use them, don't use them. That's up to you. Just hoping it can help. But I did want to add for people that are familiar with the stream and familiar with Ed and me and John. So we have this little this weird relationship now going on between the three of us. So wanted to let everybody know that me as Fat Dad Fishing, I am now going to be using exclusively the Captain Hank's tackle for my jigs and bucktails. And I will say it's not because Ed is a co-host on here. I would say Ed and I are co-hosting this probably because I loved his jigs so much and we've talked so much, I think he has jokingly referred to me as his bestie at least once, and I only half jokingly referred to him as my bestie. So I'm going to be doing that. For people that have followed the videos in the past, you would know that I support small business before large business. I can tell you I don't find there to be much wrong with a Spro bucktail, but I won't use Spro because it's a big company and that's not what I want to do. So it's part of the reason that we want local tackle shops to be given their reports here so that you guys know which ones we use and we can recommend. The small businesses are kind of like the lifeblood of saltwater fishing, at least in New Jersey. So we want to try to support that. So Ed and I are kind of teaming up on that. So I'll be fishing with his tackle going forward. And to make things even more weird, John Creeley from Creeley Custom Rods and I are also going to be teaming up. And I'm going to be using Creeley Custom Rods almost exclusively. And I say almost because he's a custom rod builder in the middle of tog season. Yeah. So he's not going to be churning out tons of rods real quick, I don't think.
No.
Yeah. So I have shared in the past that John and I did kind of collaborate in, I guess it was last winter, about putting together some specific rod for flounder fishing from a kayak. So we wanted to focus on getting something that was a low cost, but had the sensitivity and the backbone that you need to have a multi-species flounder casting rod. So I could put a bait caster on there, and he did that. And if you've seen the videos on this channel, you will notice, I think ever since April when I started using it, it is in every single video, and it is the primary rod for every species that I've fished. I've caught bluefish on it, striper, huge rays, sharks, a ton of flounder. Almost every flounder I caught this year was on it. So John and I have been talking, and he did put together for me my first real tog rod, which I'm really excited to use. I had a picture of it, but I accidentally deleted it before the stream. And I don't feel like getting up and running across the room. I'll probably break the tip on the ceiling. But he put together a really nice tog rod, and we're going to be working together. So any time you have questions about custom rods or what rods are best, John's the go-to for me, regardless of this relationship that we now have. He can tell you everything that you need to know about rods and blanks and the components, and can put together a really nice rod for people. So wanted to pass that on to everybody.
I just found out I got one on the way. I can't wait.
Yeah, John just told you it's coming, right?
Pretty much.
Hey, whatever.
I was only half joking with that. That's kind of how it works. You know what you need? You need this, and I'm going to make it for you. I'm not going to argue.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not going to fight it.
Yeah, no, don't fight it. I'll tell you what. I love that flounder rod, and I've played around with this new tog rod, and it's not just exclusively tog. John knows me. He made it. It's a blank and everything that can handle multiple species, which is really important to me. So I'm hoping that I can get that. I'm hoping I can get out on a charter with that, because I really want to use that in deep water, right? So I don't want to just bring it out on a kayak to start off with. You can be sure it'll be leashed down really tightly, just in case. But that's my hope. So maybe the three of us can get out at some point over the weekend. We can test out the new rods. Ed, you can test it out so you know what's coming your way from John. And anyone who's viewing, if you're interested in any of these rods, you can contact John through what is it, at Creeley Custom Rods on Instagram?
The best thing is just type in Creeley Custom Rods. I'll leave it in the comment. It's go through the Instagram. That's going to be the easiest way.
Okay. I was about to give your phone number, but I don't think you want me to do that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Call any time of day.
Yeah, and for Ed, if you want to pick up any Captain Hank's tackle, tog jigs, bucktails, and secret things that he hasn't revealed yet, at Captain Hanks _tackle on Instagram, you can reach out to him there.
And a quick shout out to Bill. Thank you, Bill, for your support.
Yep.
And your kind
and
words.
And I'm going to continue to thank Bill for rescuing me and Derek. A couple
I
weeks
think we
ago.
owe Bill a beer or something, man.
I definitely owe Bill a beer. He's politely declined. I offered him dinner, and I'm going to be down in his area this summer for a week. So he and I are at least going to go out for a drink at some point. I feel like I owe him a lot. So, all right. So with that, guys, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Before we go, one last thing that I want to share with everybody. We are going to go back to having a guest on this live stream on Monday. And the guest is going to be someone that a lot of you know, and that is Joe from 609 Fishing. And we're going to talk about perch. It's getting to that time of year where people are going to want to duck into the back and start fishing for perch. And he really has that dialed in. If you've ever seen a video on perch fishing on YouTube in the past year, it was probably one of his in there. He's done a really great job with that. And what's interesting is if it were just a little bit colder with these winds, I would be focusing on the perch because to me, that's a good time for it. I mean, you can catch them in 35-degree water year round, but Joe's going to come on with that. Now, it's not just going to be limited to perch. We're going to hit perch pretty heavy in the conversation, but we're going to also talk about other winter species. If you've ever looked at the channel or the Instagram page, he is catching everything. Tog, stripers, sheep. Yeah. Nice. Some really nice sheep. This is a guy who I don't know when he does anything else but fish, to be honest with you. For every one video I do, I think he has like four or five.
Joe's just a fishy dude. He's on it.
And he's catching every time too, because he's not wasting days with the amount of videos that he's putting out. But good guy. I've talked to him several times. And as a matter of fact, we're going to get out fishing together, and we're going to do kind of like the perch fishing over the winter together. I think Ed, you were going to be in on that. And I think John, you mentioned you wanted to go as well. So yeah, all depends on who wants to get out in that water in those temperatures. But
I'm about it.
Yeah, John's kind of like he's got rods to build.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next Monday night at 9:00. In the meantime, thanks for checking out the video. Hit the like and subscribe. The like is really important more than anything, especially because that's what helps get this live stream noticed. So if you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. But if you liked it at all, a like is greatly appreciated. Right before we go, John, how expensive are John's fishing rods? I will tell you the flounder rod, John, that John made for me is I believe it's $185 rod or $190 rod,
somewhere in that window. Yeah, and that's more of your less expensive rod. Your components are on the cheaper end, and that's really what it comes down to is it's components. How much am I paying for the components is how much you're paying for the components, and then my labor put into it too. So I don't make a killing off of labor. I'm not charging like the rest of these guys. I'm not as experienced as these other guys, but the rod functions. It looks good. That's really all that matters at the end of the day. So if you want, like I said, I'll leave a comment later on on the YouTube page. Right in the comments, just message me through Instagram and we could talk more for sure.
Yeah, and John also, John Davis is also a member of the channel, so you can actually reach him through that private Facebook group.
Okay.
You can talk directly to him there.
All right, that'll
John,
work out.
John and John, you're both in there, so you can talk in there as well.
Yeah, that'll work out perfect.
We're going to close it up. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, and we'll check you out next week.
Have a happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Thanks,
everyone.
too.